don't know if it's me or.
Oh, yeah, Noelle, it doesn't look like you're muted, but we can't hear you.
It's like quiet.
With her sound, LaTana, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like we can't hear anything. That static, nothing. It's just It's
Oh,
like
no,
you're
now, well, and just for a second there, it popped back up as if you were muted.
maybe the
Hello.
Hello?
What was that? I think that was. I'm trying to look real quick on the screen. Maybe it's the settings on your computer, like the volume, like the speakers. Is it connected to?
Yeah, we have internal speakers in these laptops, so that should be okay. At least Noelle is in the office.
Okay, now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now.
Okay, good. My apologies. I'm about to run a hybrid meeting for a different purpose next week, and we were testing. I can't tell you what we were testing. With the wires in and out of my computer, and I'm sorry, it was set on a different setting. Okay.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
at least you could recover from it. That's the good thing.
All right, I'm a techno whiz now, people.
All right, so I'm thinking maybe we'll give the announcement about the process for an opportunity to speak at the beginning and maybe somewhere further down the road in case some people log in late. Since we don't have as many logged in yet as I'd anticipated. But Elaine, whenever you're ready, we'll start.
Okay. And I see, LaTana, did you shift Judge Colbert over?
I think Noelle did.
Okay, good. I tried and I wasn't sure if I was successful or not. Here's Judge Colbert. Nice to have you with us today.
Thank you.
And we have someone on a phone number. If you're the 404-823-0026 number and you are a member of the Child Support Commission, put a message in the chat so that we can promote you to panelist. Please, if you would, that way we can, I'm just not sure when a phone number comes up, we don't know, who that is. And we certainly don't want to have a commission member sitting in a situation where they can't get into the meeting. Okay. Well, I don't see that phone number showing up any longer. So Judge Key, I think we should begin. I think Noelle is going to agree that we have quorum. And so this is a good time for us to get started.
Recording in progress.
Thank you, LaTana.
All right, welcome to the fall commission meeting, the Georgia Child Support Commission. We're delighted to be having this meeting. I can't wait till we get back in person, maybe next year. But it's good to see you guys in any event, even though it's electronically. And we appreciate you taking time for your busy calendars, particularly on a beautiful Friday afternoon for the meeting. So I'm Michael Key. I'm the juvenile court judge in Troup County. I've been on the commission for a while, not quite sure how long, but for quite a while. And I've been chair for a few years now. The way we're going to follow through with this, I want to make some special introductions and give them a chance to say something about themselves. And then to save time, because we anticipate some public comment time at the end of the meeting, then we will wait instead of getting all the commission members to introduce themselves now. Then when Noelle does the roll call for the quorum, then if any of you have anything you want to share or say to the group at that time, that would be a good time to do it. We are really excited to have a full commission. It's been a while since we had that, I think, Elaine. I'm not sure how long, but quite a while.
Yeah.
Commission staff who does such great work has worked really hard to get these appointments made, and we are full force now. And I want to recognize our new members. One is a former colleague of mine, the juvenile court bench, now Superior Court Judge, Judge Lisa Colbert. Lisa, anything you want to say to the group?
Just happy to be a part of this group. Appreciate the work, those of you who've been toiling before I got here. Excited to see some former colleagues, Judge Jones, Judge Key. And thank you so much to Elaine Johnson for graciously facilitating my appointment and my swearing in ceremony. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to the great work we can do together. Thank you.
Another new member we have is Christina Scott. She's a family law attorney and I think also a mediator, if I remember correctly.
Yes, good afternoon to everyone. Judge Key, thank you very much. Very, very happy to be a part of this commission and look forward to working with everyone. And also thanks to Elaine as well for facilitating the swearing in and all the ceremonies that took place. And I look forward to working with the commission.
Great, welcome. Welcome. Now, Justice LaGrua is back with us. She was a member when she was a Superior Court judge in Fulton County and left the commission when she was appointed to the Supreme Court. And she's been reappointed to the commission. We're really excited about that. I know that Katie is because she did a lot of this work around the statute stuff when she was here before. So Katie will have some additional help with her. She has a conflict at this point. We anticipate she'll be signing in sometime during the meeting, and we certainly hope so. And I'll try to recognize it in if I can catch that. We also want to do an acknowledgement and expression of gratitude to Judge Amanda Baxter. I don't know if she's with us or not, but she's a long-serving member of the commission who has continued her work on the commission even after she rotated off, continued to do committee work. And we appreciate that so much. We appreciate your service with the commission. So Torna, if you will make some announcements for us now, please.
Yes, thank you, Judge Key. Well, I'm just going to go over a few rules to help us navigate the meeting today via Zoom webinar. The commission members, staff, and representatives from Legislative Council and the Attorney General's office are panelists and can speak anytime during the meeting. All others are considered attendees and are muted during the meeting, but will be unmuted if they wish to make public comments at the end of the meeting. If you are an attendee using a computer, please use the chat feature to indicate you wish to provide public comment and the chair will call on you. I will unmute you to speak. If you are an attendee who joined the meeting by telephone and wish to speak during the public comment segment, I will click the Allow to Talk button, but you will remain muted until you select *6 on your phone keypad. Please state your full name as you begin speaking. I'll turn it back over to Judge Key.
Thank you so much. So we're going to move to the next item 2 on the agenda, which is review and approval of minutes. And I think what we'll do, Noel, if it's okay, is let's do a roll call, even though I think you've established a quorum. Let's do a roll call and pause just a second in case any of the commission members whose names are called want to make any comments or welcome the group or whatever they might want to do.
Sure thing. So acknowledging you, Judge Key. Then we have next up Mr. Charles Clay. Chuck Clay, is he with us? I don't think so, but Judge Lisa Colbert. She's here. She's muted, but we've got
Yes.
you, Colbert.
She's already spoken to us.
Yeah. Katie Connell.
I'm here. Hi. Glad to be here. Good to see everyone and welcome to our new members. We're always glad for fresh faces, fresh ideas, fresh energy. So thank you for agreeing to serve and welcome. I look forward to working with you and getting to know you.
Awesome. Thank you. Representative Gaines.
Good afternoon. Good to be with y'all. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Senator Emmanuel Jones. And Judge Lisa Jones.
Good afternoon again. I'm glad to see everyone and I'm super excited to see my friend Judge Colbert with us.
Awesome. Justice LaGrua, has she joined yet? I know she was going to join. I don't see her as of yet. Judge Palmer. Regina Quick.
Present and unmuted for a change here at the Capitol in the Lieutenant Governor's office this afternoon.
Fantastic. Thank you. Representative Bonnie Rich.
Hello. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. Christina Scott.
Hello, present.
Senator Brian Strickland. Dr. Roger Tutterow.
Present. Good to see everyone again.
And Judge Connie Williford. I'm not seeing her. I don't think she's joined yet. But I have seen Chuck Clay join us. Welcome, Chuck. Good to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Noel. So we've established a quorum of our commission, and the minutes were previously submitted. Anyone have any changes that need to be made to the changes or corrections, additions to the minutes? Okay. All in favor of adopting the minutes as submitted, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Any abstentions, say abstain. All right, thank you. Minutes are approved as submitted. We'll move next to old business and talking about committee assignments. Regina Quick has been appointed chair of the Technology and Calculator Subcommittee, and we are so grateful for her service. That's very, very important work. It's not easy work, and we do appreciate her for doing that. And I've already personally thanked her before we started the meeting. Regina, anything you want to say about that work or about the committee?
No, just that, Judge, I'll try to do what you need me to do there, and staff has made it very easy and seamless, as you might imagine. We had a detailed couple of hours together after you made the appointment, and so with their help, we'll hopefully keep everything moving along.
So with some new members on the commission and some of us maybe needing some refreshers, before I ask for volunteers to volunteer or two to serve on that committee, Regina, would you or Elaine one talk about the scope of that work? Very briefly.
Virginia, do you want to do that? And I can step in if you need me to.
So, Judge, I couldn't quite hear you there. I've got one of these internal computers in a laptop. Did you?
Right. Yeah,
Were you asking me to go ahead and do the report?
No, I'm about to ask for a volunteer or two from the commission to serve on your committee. So before I ask you to volunteer, I was hoping either you or Elaine would give a very brief description of the scope of the work.
Elaine, I'll let you handle that.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, Regina. And thank you, Judge Key. No longer using the Excel calculator and moving to an online calculator. That committee was an integral part of making those decisions, and helping us pick what we wanted to have in an online calculator. So when we don't have a lot of business regarding that, that subcommittee may not have a lot to do. However, after we finish the economic study in 2022, there could be a good bit of business that subcommittee will be doing. If the table changes, if we have to make changes to the child support calculator, we'll be seeking their input.
Thank you, Elaine. So we need one or more commission members to volunteer to serve on that committee. If you want to do it now, that would be great. If not, you'll have another opportunity, hopefully, after the meeting. But does anybody want to volunteer to serve on that committee at this point? How many do we need?
Can I make a qualified statement about it? I would be happy to be added to that committee and work with Regina and Senator Jones and Representative Rich and whoever else ends up on the committee when I have concluded my work with the Parenting Time Deviation Study Committee. It would be, it is not feasible for me to add that with
recording stop. Recording in progress.
But I would be happy to come on to that committee when the Parenting Time Study Committee is finished, to the extent that's helpful.
I'm sure that it is, and we'll go ahead and list you as a member in waiting.
Okay.
So we don't forget that offer.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
I can be on deck.
Yeah, on deck. How many additional members do you need at this point, Regina?
Well, Judge, we have 3 members. So to add Katie as member in waiting, that would be 4. And I think that would be sufficient.
Well, I was going to say, if that committee needs, more people, I don't mind. I mean, I'm sort of open wherever you think I can best be utilized is fine with me.
Okay. Well, Judge Colbert, we can also add you.
Okay.
Great. Thank you guys so much.
So I think that would put that committee at a full strength of commission members.
Right. So Katie, just go ahead and finish up your work real soon. So okay. I know you left it.
I just have to warn you all, there's nothing technological about me, so you might want to replace me after a couple of meetings, but we'll see.
That's never worked for me. Being humble and to try to staff a committee has never worked for me before, Judge Colbert, and I'm not sure it's going to work for you. So. I want to thank Christina, one of our new members, for volunteering to serve in the economic subcommittee. Again, extremely important work. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I've not talked to Katie about this before, and I don't know if any of you guys have, but one question we have is Katie, would you like to have a co-chair for the statute review committee? As I remember, when I was chair, that you were my co-chair. I remember, but do you think you need a co-chair for when you can't be there?
Sure. For when I'm not there would be sure. Yeah. I mean, I would have said maybe not necessary, but I recently had to pull out of a study committee meeting because of an emergency situation, hearing situation. So a co-chair is always a nice backup. Sure.
I always found that to be helpful when I was chairing that committee. So then I'll leave it up to you to look at the committee and make a recommendation. I guess you could probably actually make the appointment, but if I need to make it, I will on your recommendation. Are there any other, I think we've done a pretty good job of signing our new members up, except Justice LaGrua, who's going to join us later. So, anyone else want to volunteer for any of the committees? Would you like to work on another committee? Right. We would move to the next item, which would be 3B, item B under old business. And this, I've missed something. I hope I haven't. Yeah. So let's turn over now to Chair of our Economic Subcommittee, Dr. Tutter.
Thank you, Judge Key, and glad to be part of the old business. So let's, I come bringing greetings from the Economic Study Committee. Since the commission met in April, we have had one of the things we've always tried to do in the Georgia Child Support Commission is be transparent with regard to discussions that we have and solicit the input of the Georgia citizens that we serve. So apropos of that, with this being our fifth time around on doing the economic study, we set up 2 listening sessions, one on August 27th, one on September 20th, where we gave citizens the opportunity to call in and share orally their comments regarding the Economic Study Committee's work. In addition, we have allowed them to, and actually solicited for them to send in written comments. And we have left that window open until October 31st. So at that point, they will have received at least 3 months in which they can provide written or oral input to the Economic Study Committee. As of our meeting last Wednesday on October the 2nd, or 6th rather, we had our Cracker Jacks team there in the Administrative Office of the Courts had classified the comments we had into 17 categories. And of those 17, it looked like 8 of those 17 would likely refer input to the Economic Study Committee. And then there would be input that we would forward to Statute Review, to the Parenting Time Committee, to the Lower Income Deviation Committee, and then also some comments for regard to professional education for the Office of the Courts. So I did want to kind of give a little bit of a context here that one of the challenges with these listening sessions has been that a lot of people think this is an opportunity to relitigate their case or to make comments very general about the child support system. We tried to funnel them down to focusing just on the Economic Study Committee. But again, we will share all the input that we received. We have consolidated that input. As I said, we will allow more input to come in before October the 31st, and then we will share it first with the entire Economic Subcommittee again before it is referred to the entire commission prior to the December 3rd commission meeting. Second issue to be addressed is, of course, we have in the past used Dr. Jane Venor from the Center for Policy Research in Denver, Colorado, to do the actual economic study for us. And at the June 4th meeting of the Economic Study Committee, we recommended that she be retained for doing the study this round. That was also reported in the meeting last October, on October 6th for the Economic Study Committee. And so that would come forward today as a recommendation. So again, a little bit of background. Jane has worked with our staff before. Elaine advises me that we have kind of tentative approval in terms of the budget, which is $45,000 for the base study and another $15,000 for the Engel Rothbard study that goes with it. And so what we would like to do is bring forward from the committee to the commission a recommendation that's subject to the approval from DHS, their budgetary approval, that the commission retain Jane Venor for the previously discussed economic study. And we can handle that, if that's okay with you, Your Honor, at the end of this meeting, at the end of my report as a form of a motion. Then finally, I guess I would report back that one of the components of doing the economic study is to sample throughout Georgia some of the counties that we look at and see how we're doing in terms of actually implementing the economic study report and the guidelines. And what we've done in the previous 4 iterations is we selected 12 counties, and we did so in a manner that would give both geographic diversity, but in the aggregate would reflect the population density and the per capita income of the state. We will probably stick with a similar methodology, except that what we have done the past 4 times is drop out counties that previously participated in an effort to prevent overburdening their court clerks. So this time, though, we think that we're getting down to a point where we need to put all 159 counties back in the mix and pull our sample again. We will again use a methodology to ensure that we get geographic diversity, as well as, of course, a mix in terms of population density and incomes. It is also possible that we will opt to have more than 12 counties. We would want to consult with Jay Venor first. We want to make sure, particularly in some of the smaller counties, we have enough data collected for the month of October for us to feel like we have a meaningful analysis. So again, the timeline on that is we would select the counties in no later than late November 2021. A letter would go out from the staff in January 2022, and they would, of course, start collecting information based upon court actions on October of 2021. So those are the 3 areas that I would report out on. I would welcome any of my economic subcommittee members to weigh in with any comments they have. And then we would recommend to the chair that we take up the motion with regard to the retention of Dr. Venor.
Any comments from anyone on that subcommittee?
No, thank you.
Right. Subject to correction by people much smarter than me, I think this coming out of a standing committee, it would not need a motion or second, just a vote. So all in favor of approving the contract subject to funding, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Anyone abstaining, say I abstain. Motion carries. Thank you so much, Dr. Totoro, and all the rest of your committee.
Thank you, Judge Key.
And thank you for the work done and the work yet to be done. Next is going to be the Technology and Calculator Subcommittee. Regina, if you will, please.
Thank you, Judge. And again, thanks to staff for getting me up to speed on this. As everyone on the commission, I'm sure, is aware, but those who are listening in as attendees may not be, the Child Support Calculator is online. It's hosted in the Amazon Web Services, or AWS Cloud. And I report to the commission that it is operating well in that environment. Historically, there was not always an online calculator, and that was originally deployed on August 8th, 2016. And then there was a phase-in period from using the old Excel spreadsheets to mandatory use of the online calculator. As of October 13th, 2021, the calculator has 65,187 user accounts, and 322,718 worksheets, which have been created since that original deployment date. Luckily, staff did not calculate how many were duplicate worksheets that attorneys had to do to figure out to finally get it right. But, maintenance and updating of that calculator has been outsourced previously to a private contractor. As of October 1st, the Administrative Office of the Courts has now been handling those duties directly. That will provide a cost savings and also improve responsiveness in working on the calculator. And as everyone in the commission knows, the security and the operation of that calculator is of utmost importance to all of us. The next deployment for the calculator is scheduled for early January 2022, when the self-employment taxes paid formula will be updated. And of course, I'm trying to also monitor the
for Regina, our staff, about that. And let's definitely reflect in the meeting in the minutes that this commission is saving the taxpayers of Georgia some money and providing better, improving service. So thank you so much for that. All right, next on the agenda is Parenting Time Deviation Study Committee. Katie.
Hi, okay, so I am pleased to report that the Parenting Time Deviation Study Committee has been very hard at work. We've been scheduling meetings just weeks apart instead of months apart, and scheduling two at a time just to make sure that we keep them on the calendar and keep up our momentum, all in an effort to, in what I think will be the next week or two, get to a point of discussing actual recommendations for the commission. So I don't know how, to what detail y'all are interested in, but I could tell you that we've basically been doing a narrowing, starting with a all 50 state analysis and an update on child support guidelines for all 50 states, then picking out some states we wanted to look at more specifically. And we started by dividing the 50 states into thirds, and we've literally come down, and now we're down to 5 or 6 states that we've looked at in more detail, interviewed practitioners in those states with a set of questions that we developed because we wanted to make sure we were getting some consistent data from the different states. So so we are really in the the meat and potatoes of our work, and as I said, we're scheduling meetings not just months out, but 3 weeks, but we're going ahead and let's go ahead and get another one on the calendar for right after that, so that everybody knows. So it is crunch time, and we know that, and there, as there often is, there are some core members of our study committee who are really making it happen, and then others who we don't see ever, although we've let some of them go, and then a few that we kind of nudged and said, hey, we need to know if you're not going to be on our study committee because you're affecting our ability to obtain quorum. So all of that in anticipation of being able to get down to business and make recommendations. And I will tell you candidly, we were at a point where we were not going to be able to have a quorum to be able to make recommendations. So that kind of thinning of the committee, while frustrating, is actually what has been necessary. But it also, thankfully, we had a few members who sort of re-engaged as a result of that reminder. So which has been nice to have their input and participation. So we're hard at work. There are some members that I will save until the end of our work in total, but I will want to highlight several members at some point and give them specific thanks for their diligence and hard work and commitment, because from a nice handful of professionals across the state, we've gotten some real dedication, and it's been wonderful. So we are home stretch. Anybody have any questions for me about what we're doing, how we're doing it, where we stand?
So Katie, I think I know the answer to this, but would you anticipate any recommendations for the commission to deal with prior to the next legislative session?
we are hoping to have recommendations for the commission to deal with by the end of this year. So, now to what extent that can be addressed for the next legislative session. I mean, my thought process is whatever the recommendations are, they go to the commission, but then the commission may want to have the statute review committee discuss them, or, so I don't know what the next steps will be, but we are aiming for an end of the year, product, this is what we think and here's why kind of thing.
I think that's great. And we can have an offline conversation, you and me and staff, about the need to go to the statute review committee.
Sure.
And some timing for that. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Anyone else have questions for Katie? This is extremely important work and hard work, I know, and I appreciate you taking that on.
Judge Key,
Yeah.
this is Judge Colbert. I had a question,
Sure.
and forgive my ignorance. Is the, I guess the work in terms of talking to practitioners, are any parents included in those conversations or?
Okay. Yes, Judge, we have, our committee is made up of practitioners, judges, parents, and even all of our meetings are announced through the public announcements that are required. So we have people, from the public who attend our meetings, ask to be on the agenda and make comments. It's been a very open process.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good question. All right, thank you so much. We'll move next to the low income deviation work group. Lane's gonna be reporting for Judge Palmer.
Okay, thank you, Judge Key. This is a break-off work group from the Low Income Deviation Study Committee that Judge Palmer is the chair of. And what we're doing is looking at the existing law for the low income deviation on Schedule E of the calculator to see if we can discover a way to simplify instruction, simplify process, make it easier for people to understand low income deviation. And so we've been meeting since August. I think August 10th was our first meeting. And we've had several, about 3 weeks apart, that type of thing. And then we have another one for the 19th of October. And we do have some ideas that are floating around within the group. One of the things that Noelle and I are going to do, and LaTana, she doesn't know about this yet, but we're going to meet one day next week. I think it's Monday. And we're actually going to present an idea from staff that would basically take what we have currently and see if we can simplify the language, simplify the instructions, and make it just easier to use with what we already have as one of the ideas. We do have a couple of other ideas, or actually 3. Deborah Johnson, an attorney who's done some work with the commission over the many, many years, she is going to make a presentation to us on Tuesday for an idea that she has. So we're not quite there yet, but we know we'll have the meeting on the 19th, and I feel certain we'll have one meeting after that at least, so that Noelle and LaTana and I can present any idea the staff is bringing forth. And at the point that we finish, whether we have 4 ideas, 5 ideas, 2 ideas, whatever it is, we'll then get in touch with Regina Quick and establish a meeting date for the Technology and Calculator Committee, so we can bring these ideas forward to them to then look at and see what they think about making any sort of change on low income deviation currently. This has nothing to do with any kind of change regarding a change within the law on low income, maybe for self-support reserve or any of those things that we've heard from the public about. This is just strictly taking what the law says today and seeing if we can simplify the directions, simplify the process of using the low income deviation. So this is a short-lived little work group, and we will finish, I'm sure by November, sometime in November, we'll be finished with that work. And then we will take it to Regina for her to consider and set up a meeting then for Technology and Calculator Committee to look at these ideas. So that's basically where we are with that work group.
Does anyone on the work group have anything to add? Does anyone on the commission or panel have any questions they want to ask about that?
Judge Key, I might just add to what Elaine was saying, that this is truly about improving the mechanics and the functionality of how the low income deviation works in the calculator. That comes out of that low income deviation study committee where we heard folks are opting to use the non-specific deviation in lieu of the low income deviation. That throws off our numbers and makes it unclear why folks are deviating. And that's why we're looking into, well, why do folks choose to use the non-specific deviation instead of the more appropriate deviation? So
Thank you.
thank
And
you.
just because I just thought of it, and we could put in the parking lot somewhere, if we ever decide to make any changes to that portion of the statute, then perhaps some clarification around whether in a low income situation where there's a reunification case, you're allowed to go below the low income deviation based on a reunification plan with child in foster care. There's some dispute about that out there. We could clarify that perhaps. If I wouldn't make a change just for that reason, but if we ever go in, it'd be a good idea to do that. If we can keep that idea in the parking lot.
Certainly.
Thanks to
Judge
staff.
Key,
Yes.
Can I just say, as the Superior Court judge dealing with child support cases and my
Yeah.
familiarity with the reunification, that would be very welcomed. So thank you. If I can help in any way, though I'm not on that committee, please let me know.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, and thanks to everyone on that work group and the staff for that work. Latanya, before we go into the new business, could you just state the rules again for public comment for those that might have logged on after you gave those rules before, the process?
Yes, sir. And may I ask for the people that would like to speak to make their public comments at the end of the meeting, is 5 minutes okay? Judge Key, do you have a specific time limit for them?
Well, what I like to do is when we finish the new business, let's see how much time we have left.
Okay.
We're going to conclude on time. So we'll see how much time we have left and allow a little bit of run over in individuals, and we'll do the math and calculate how much time each person can have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so yes, I'll run over the process one more time for the new attendees that have attended. Let's see here. The commission members, staff, and representatives from the Legislative Council and the Attorney General's office are panelists and can speak at any time during the meeting. All others are considered attendees and are muted during the meeting, but will be unmuted if they wish to make public comments at the end of the meeting. If you are an attendee using a computer, please use the chat feature to indicate you wish to provide public comment, and the chair will call on you. I will unmute you to speak. If you are an attendee who joined the meeting by telephone and wish to speak during the public comment segment, I will click the Allow to Talk button, but you will remain muted until you select *6 on your phone keypad. Please state your full name as you begin speaking.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. So let's move into new business, and Representative Rich as the first item, child support beyond the age of majority for children with disabilities. I think she said she meant to log off. Is she still with us?
Well, it indicates she's still with us. She's muted and we don't see her picture any longer. She may have stepped away for a moment. But there's no indication that she has left the meeting.
I think she was one that mentioned she may have to step away for just a minute. So we'll come back.
Right.
So let's go next to request for recording of commission meetings. Noel?
Yes, thank you. So I just want to give a little brief history and then open it up for any discussion. And this is simply just to raise the issue with the commission because it's been coming up frequently as of late. So historically, Child Support Commission meetings, including subcommittee and study committee meetings, have been held in person with a telephone call-in option. To help staff with drafting minutes of those meetings, audio recordings were always made. Now, of course, the pandemic has changed all of that, and we've been meeting by Zoom video conference. But for the same reason, we've been making that we always made audio recordings of in-person meetings. We do and have been recording Zoom meetings, which are capable of producing both a video recording or an audio-only recording. So the Child Support Commission complies with the Open Meetings Act, which requires that we post written meeting summaries to the Commission's website within 48 hours of any meeting, and then post meeting minutes once they're approved. All of our meetings are open to the public, and we've had several requests by members of the public to send them recordings of meetings. So such requests usually are made in a Zoom chat feature or, directly via email to staff. To date, we've been declining those requests because of the historical precedent of not posting or circulating the audio recordings of past in-person meetings and explaining that we comply with the Open Meetings Act and provide written summaries and meetings as required by that act. Also, before I open this up for any discussion, I just wanted to say that I make a distinction between meetings and trainings. Staff regularly gives monthly trainings on the child support calculator by Zoom. Those are very well attended. However, we also have 8 training videos that are permanently up on the Commission's website. Those were very carefully scripted and recorded. And from time to time, we have requests for recordings of those monthly trainings from people attending those very trainings. However, I direct them to the videos permanently posted on the website. From my perspective, this is in case anything changes, this is allowing us to control what is promoted by the Commission as formal training on the calculator without dozens of various videos circulating out there in general. So that's where we've been coming down in terms of requests for recordings of trainings and then recordings of meetings. If you have any other questions for me, great. I just wanted to open up the discussion. I wanted you all to know how staff has been handling those.
I don't think this is an action item. It's just an opportunity for input. So, and if any action needs to be taken, we can determine the method for doing that. So any one want to speak to that?
Judge Key, this is Roger Tutterow. We received a request or two, I think, with regard to the listening sessions, and I was pretty strongly opposed to sharing the recordings and remain so, in part because I'm concerned that if someone wants an opportunity to share their comments with the commission or with one of the subcommittees, they should be able to do so without having that recording go in the public domain, because this is a very the issues that become involved become very inflammatory at times, become very emotional. And I don't think that they always would feel like they could speak with candor if they had to worry about some clip that they said get posted on YouTube. So I think that by having open meetings and conforming with the open meetings law, I think we meet our burden there. And certainly I have full confidence that any minutes that we produce are accurate representations of that which has been said.
Thank you, Dr. Tutter. Anyone else? So we will leave it. It's not an action item for today. If at any point any commission member has any thoughts on it and they think some action should be taken or some change should be made, just notify staff and we will talk about it. All right. Thank you for that report, Noel. And while you have the floor, next is treatment of child-related tax credits, Noel.
Yes. So this is extra fun for a Friday afternoon, but okay. So we have another pandemic-related issue that's been coming up during trainings. First, I note that in addition to child-related tax credits, folks have been regularly asking us about stimulus checks. And I've been advising to treat those as variable income as defined in the statute, not to simply add it as a component of gross income and thereby obligating somebody to pay child support based on income that's highly unique and irregular. So I just wanted to, just really as a point of information. Then there's the American Rescue Plan Act has increased the amount of the child tax credit and is allowing it to be paid out in installments throughout the year instead of being an offset to any tax liability at the time taxes are filed, which would either lower your tax liability or create a refund. So especially with these installment payments that have been happening since July, this is making this tax credit feel to folks much more like income. And especially on trainings, we're getting asked about whether or not this should be counted as income. So there are 23 enumerated sources of income in the guidelines statute and places to list that in the calculator, but the statute is silent as to whether tax credits are considered income. However, I think to confuse matters, there is a specific deviation for the child care tax credit, not to be confused with the child tax credit. So the child care tax credit is currently a possible deviation. There is no formula. It just states that if the court or jury finds that one of the parents is entitled to or actually receiving the child care tax credit, the court or jury may deviate from the presumptive amount of child support in consideration of that tax credit. Okay, so, there's room for argument as to whether the child tax credit could be considered a deviation, could be considered as other income, because there's our categories of income, and then there's a catch-all at the bottom, which is just other. If there's some other source of income, it can be accounted for there. Now, in passing, Elaine and I happen to have been talking with a well-known forensic accountant. Her name's Laurie Dyke. She's done a lot of work for the commission in the past. I believe she's the accountant who developed the self-employment calculator for her. We were all talking on a completely unrelated topic, and I happened to run this by her because we were getting asked about it all the time. And her opinion was a tax credit is much more akin to income than it would be to be handled as a deviation. So I wanted to just raise this because it's certainly a hot topic at the moment. There's various, things we could do. We could consult the vendor we hire for the economic study for any input there. We could consult other accountants about it. I don't know if statute review feels like this is pressing enough to take it, if our statute review committee wants to take it up. Also, this all might be fairly moot because it seems like already in tax year 2022, we're going back to a lower child tax care credit amount. So it might become less controversial, but it's definitely brewing out there. And I just wanted to raise the issue to the commission.
Thank you, Noelle. Does anyone have any questions or comments about that?
I'm going to say I'm going to reserve my comment to determine if you're going to send it to statute review. I do have comments, and I am in the unfortunate, unique, I don't know, but I have an undergrad and a master's in accounting where I focused almost exclusively in tax. So I'm fairly well versed on these things, in addition to practicing in this area. But I'll save it to see if we decide to do anything with this issue.
And do you have a thought about whether it should go to the statute review committee or now or just wait?
I think at a minimum, we should wait until 2022 because I think that it's in flux.
All right, we'll put that in the parking lot as well, and we'll look at that perhaps at our first meeting in 2022. Thank you, Noelle. Representative Richard, you back with us now? I see your box there. All right. So Tom, let's look at the time remaining. We have a little over an hour, but I do want to leave some time for Representative Rich when she comes back in to give her report during the public comment period, and more likely at the very end of it. So how many people have signed up for public comment?
In the chat box, I have Paul Harper. He would like to speak, and he has a couple of slides he would like to share also. Is that, okay? Well, I just have one person right now.
Oh, just one person?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'd like to speak and present some slides also.
Yeah. Okay. If we just have one person, then I think we give up to.
Well, we can just probably ask again, just anyone that would like to speak, I'll give you a public comment, just write in the chat box if you would like to speak, and we'll just go down the list. But right now, just have one person that.
We're almost 50 minutes into the meeting, so I would think anyone, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this person 10 minutes. That would get us to about 2:30. And then if no one else signs in, then we'll close the public comment period. And otherwise, we'll see what we have at that point. So that's fine.